Your Image, your public relations flagship program on TV. Today, I have guests who are worthy to discuss the topic. And the topic is political parties and the issues of inclusiveness. You can remember when we were transiting into the Fourth Republic, that was May 1999, there were hopes that political parties will engender full participation, there will be inclusiveness of all the people who will be involved in the society to help democracy to grow. Or how have we fared? I'll be asking my guests, how have we succeeded in engendering inclusiveness in the activities and sustaining democracy in Nigeria? I have with me a public analyst, social commentator, and a man who is also very deep on issues that enhances democracy. Talking about Ola Animasham. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Nice to be on set.
It's nice to have you.
Nice to be here.
I also have with me an expert in planning, who also applies his trade with the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, in person of Olalekon Shotunde. Shotunde, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's nice to have you once again.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be
here. When I had you last time, it was when at the emergence of the Ukraine-Russia war.
I remember.
We thought the war would have abated, and here we are. The war is still raging. Well, we hope for peace.
Sure.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
So now, what has been the issue? Why are people clamoring for non-inclusiveness? Why are people agitating? So we're here to discuss and to further enlighten and to further encourage the current political parties to engender a lot of inclusiveness in their planning program.
Thank you very much.
You?
You see, ordinarily, for any political party to survive, you've got to be able to organize yourself in such a way that the element of synergizing, the synergy between all segments of such organization will be so cohesive to the extent that they will be able to go out as a formidable front towards winning an election, because democracy requires inclusivity. But where you have some elements, so to say, in quotes, lording themselves over the others, there is a tendency that people will feel disenfranchised within and feel that, well, the principle that brought us together is what we are supposed to pursue, not that you'll be pursuing personal agenda. And that, in essence, will militate against the interest of oneness in such an organization. And if, as a political party, you are unable to maintain that element of inclusivity, how then do you forge ahead into presenting yourself for the public to elect you into offices with the hope of working around every variable to bring about the dividends of such democracy and governance to the generality of the public? In essence, the people will start having doubt that where you are unable to cohabit effectively as a group, how can we trust you with our commonwealth in terms of managing our resources in the interest of everybody? So the hope and aspiration of everybody, like you said, right from the Fourth Republic, let's just look at it from that angle, is that political parties will be developing perhaps faster than even assumed or expected in making sure that they are well integrated for the purpose which they are formed, for the principles, for the paradigms, or perhaps for their philosophy of governing the people, but rallying around together to make sure that this is feasible. Where this is not working with principle of inclusivity, then there is a serious challenge. And you cannot afford as a house to go in disarray towards an election. as it were. So it is expected that all elements of the political party, all hands must be on the deck. Nobody must be left aside in the course of pursuing such a goal.
Thank you very much, sir. Is it the diversity in this nation that is causing the non-inclusiveness?
Thank you very much. The issue of inclusiveness is complex and multidimensional.
How do you mean?
Thank you very much. We are talking about inclusiveness in a society where people have diverse opinion, beliefs, religion, and interest. We are talking about political parties, except for probably one or two. Most were gathered hurriedly in their quest and search for power. So when you have such cases, you have individual interest that has potential to transcend national interest. When you have such problem, then individuals will tend to laud their interest. And if such individuals are not able to present such interest, individual interest, to the extent that other stakeholders will accept it, then it becomes a problem. Inclusiveness refers to ensuring that the interests of other stakeholders, more importantly the interests of the nation, transcend individual interest. Now, how do you aggregate the interest of people of diverse religions and beliefs, diverse ethnic groups, some of whom came to power just to pursue personal agendas, to pursue personal interests? So when you have such as it is in Nigeria today, then you are bound to see the kind of dramas we are seeing.
But Nigeria is not alone in this kind of dynamics. We have seen nations with more diverse nature aggregating views, engendering harmony, and encouraging several people to come together for national unity.
You are correct. That is where the national unity, national agenda is well defined and understood by all stakeholders. Here, Nigeria is I can compare it to a relationship of a couple that is not working but are bound legally to just stay together as a couple. They are encouraged by their religious leaders not to separate. Look, Nigeria is a multi-ethnic society. Unfortunately, we don't have a constitution that takes care of all interests. We are just benefiting what we got from the military in 1998. So when somebody cries to the National Assembly today, they say let there be an amendment. When this one cries to the National Assembly, they say let there be an amendment. We've been on amendments. We've done it repeatedly. Yes, it is getting better by the day. But the truth of the matter is that there are individual interests. There are sectional interests. To have a government that will include the interest of all might be difficult for now.
Well, let me even ask this question. Is it that we lack leaders who can make Nigeria a cohesive country?
Not quite. You see, I agree that Nigeria is a country of nations.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a country of nations. But when it comes to making things work, you don't superimpose your interest over the other segment's interest. You are supposed to work in harmony. You stare down some issues in the interest of that harmony. Yes, it might look like some leadership tends towards not working towards bringing about this cohesiveness, so to say, because of pecuniary interest of their sectional or geographical locations. But if the constitution, so to say, or the system makes it inevitable for you to work on that cohesiveness, there's just no two way about it that you can derail, go outside it and say, I will not comply or I will not conform. Provided those who are superintending together with you, the other arms of governance, are doing the needful to make sure that every other sectors or a section of governance comply, and provided the citizenry also works towards that harmony, irrespective of religious, tribal, or whatever sentiments or differentials that are operating.
Whose role is to galvanize the citizenry?
Of course, the leadership is supposed to galvanize, perhaps the head of the country or whatever. But if he has escape routes if the constitution or some other regulations that should compel him to work, that is why people say the system is weak or something like that. If the systemic failure is there, he will have opportunities of escape.
Exactly.
And once he escapes, other segments of the nation or the country will see it as if this man is tending towards his own climb alone. He's not incorporating the benefits of the interest of others along the line. Then there will be aggregated disenchantment. People will feel not, aligned with, not recognized, feel shortchanged, and as such, there could be elements of insurgencies. There could be elements of outcries against the common interest that we are supposed to have. And everybody will now be saying, let me pursue my own goals as well. Give me the capacity to ventilate and do my own things my own way, because the nation does not seem, or the country does not seem to be favoring other segments or other nations, as it were.
But we are not in a lawless society. Remember, we have institutions that are supposed to guide and to even regulate the activities of both the leaders and the citizenry. What is happening?
Well, I raised the issue of constitution briefly a while ago, and I would like to touch it briefly. You see, when there are no proper legal framework, you cannot govern any sane society without a proper legal framework. Let me be specific. Let me cite instances. When Trump was to leave office after losing election, he did all he could to remain. But the system worked against him. He mobilized house, he mobilized people to protest, even into the White House. But he could not fight the system because the laws were there. But we are talking about a society where people throw away, judges throw away legitimate cases on technical ground. Cases that are obvious. People throw it away, judges throw it away. Back to the issue of political parties. They were gathered together in a hurry. Some of them did not perfect the legal framework, party constitution, properly. Some people identified loopholes inside it through which they can pursue their personal agenda, take advantage of such. Then you have trouble, as it is with PDP presently. It is not stated anywhere that there will be zoning. A mutual agreement between stakeholders. We have been on it since 1999. It has been working perfectly. But in my opinion, somebody was not smart enough not to have kicked his brother away. He did not deem it fit that he should be careful when he was throwing his brother away as national chairman. He was only interested in getting the party ticket. So his brother is kicked away. He gave it to somebody else with assurance from those who promised him that he will get party ticket. Unfortunately, we all know how it went. Now he's feeling bad, feeling cheated. Why? Non-inclusiveness. Why? All stakeholders were not considered. It was me. After all, the party was in my pocket before this one came back from Dubai to come and pick it. You get what I'm saying? We all know the story. What are we saying? If he had considered the interest of every other stakeholder, he would have said, okay, you want the party ticket? No problem. There are waivers? No problem. If there was no waiver, Atiku Abubakar would not have been allowed to contest in the primaries. But some people said, since it is not written in the constitution of the party, anybody can contest. Yes, zoning is not enshrined in the constitution of the party. Let's throw it open. Even when you know there's an existing agreement that should not be flouted. But for his personal interest, he agreed. In the other party, somebody said, I'm not going to participate in any, what is it called now? Consensus. Somebody said, no consensus. I prefer to lose this election than agree, put my hand on paper, there will be consensus. Whoever want to contest with me should go out. Let's go to the field. And we all know the story.
Let's go down to the issues of women, gender issue and youth affairs. You could see agitation coming from women.
You see, it appears because every politics is local. And that's why people always hammer on the system, hoping that the system will be able to checkmate excesses. Just like he referred to the issue of Trump. It's the same thing that replicated in issue of straws.
Exactly.
In UK.
Exactly.
Before Richie come in now. You know, the issue is the system is able to checkmate whatever the downside of the, you know, behavioral pattern of the person's personnel, the political personnel or whatever. But in this situation, like I referred to the other time, the system is not really, is there but it's not checkmated because it appears we have some peculiarities. And it's because we're able to bypass.
These peculiarities you are talking about, don't we have local solution for it?
Ordinarily, we should have. But because the gladiators have perfected the arts of maneuvering to beat it, no matter your, you know, steadfastness with your local solutions, they will always go around to beat it. Okay, look at, you refer to the issue of women, you refer to the issue of the youths now. Even the women are their worst enemies. We've seen a situation in this country, the brain, what's the name of this woman who contested the primary for the primaries, and her vote was the only vote she got. And there were so many women. In fact, in politics, women are a large chunk of their followership.
Correct.
The same thing with the youth. But because those who are the gladiators knows how to, you know, perpetuate themselves, they know how to work on the other segments. They know how to convince the women. They know how to use money to confuse people. Not convince them, they confuse them
correct.
Into their followership. The youth also. Sometimes people talk about youth inclusiveness. Youths are not being given the opportunity. But we tend to forget that power is not served a la carte.
Correct.
And most of those...
Power resides with the people.
It resides with the people. In fact, the sovereignty is with the people. So, unfortunately, you don't sit down and assume that that power will gravitate towards you without working at it.
But they also have the number.
You said?
They also have the number.
They have the number, but most of those who are the helms of affairs today started as youths. But they worked at it. It was not given to them just like that.
I think I also need to add, okay.
The youth of today, I'm happy some of them are already galvanizing themselves towards getting to power. But it's like two opposing forces. Those who are seated now will not willingly give it up. And the youth that are supposed to capture it seems not to be quite much at advantage of pulling that thing. But they have to continue working at it. You don't say because I'm unable to do it now, I'm tired. The money factor is there. Who says the youth cannot muster the money? We've seen a replication of such an opportunity played out during the SARS crisis. They were able to galvanize resources for such a thing. So if they have a belief in a particular youth or some youths, they can as well do it. Who says youth could not have, gotten 100 million naira for?
Exactly.
If they really wanted to.
Yeah.
Yes, we are not saying they should be given that condition for anybody to contest. But as it were, I'm just of the opinion that youth should not relent. They should forge ahead. They should galvanize themselves. They can do it. Not necessarily through any of the leadership that we have. They can do it through their own evolving leadership to get to that position if they are able to work together as a force. If they are not being used, hands of Jacob and Esau, by those gladiators up there, they can do it. The same thing with the women. I hope they will do the needful on time before it is too late.
Thank you, Alan Masham. Well, Shosunde, we've been analyzing the issues of non-inclusiveness. What are the implications of non-inclusiveness in engendering democracy?
Thank you very much. What you see when major stakeholders are not included in activities is restlessness that we see in our society today. On my way to the studio, along Abiola Way, I don't want to mention the name of the political party. The women I saw there today cannot be less than 700 women. As I've seen the group at Abule Oloni, there's a public primary school at Abule Oloni. I've seen the women, the candidates, mobilized women. How I wish such group of people can be empowered to understand that they have political power and they can deliver it. How I wish such women can mobilize themselves together, nominate one person among them, finance the women. But unfortunately, they will not do that. Today, there is shout of non-inclusion of a particular segment or a particular region, and inclusiveness is should be an integral part of democracy if we want peace. Today, some of the issues we have with insurgency would not have been if those involved were engaged. Ab initio, engagement, no matter how small anybody's stake is in a system. Sorry to go into this. Some years ago, I had the privilege of talking to one of my ogas in Funab. Okay, these people you are fighting with, we shouldn't go into that. Do this, do this. The man refused to listen until they went to court. Now, presently, we have an outgoing person who has done well to include a lot of people in activities, stakeholders, relative peace is existing. Despite the skirmishes that we have seen, it is obvious that relatively he has included people, he has carried many people along. We have 4 unions in the university. The only skirmishes we have now is just from one, and God has taken control. What I'm saying is this: when you don't include stakeholders, when you don't endanger inclusiveness as a political party, as a leader, even as a family man, you see issues.
Well, issues of inclusiveness is so diverse that you cannot have one fit-all answer to it. But there are dimensions. While you look into the religious area, you know, people also play politics.
Sure.
With religion.
Religion is politics.
Religion is politics?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, must the two go hand in hand?
You see, the issue is,
what is the implication?
we are created as political animals. Whether you want to look at the issue of tribe, religion, whatever, the elements of politics is inherent in human nature. It is the partisanship that is not common to all of us. But where you are supposed to play the partisanship, you have to be very smart with it to make sure that there wouldn't be non-inclusivity amongst those that you are together. And where that comes up, there will be elements of disenchantment, like you were asking the other time, that what are the downside? And once such sets in, those who feel disenchanted will go to any length to make sure that things will not work appropriately. And if it affects a nation as well, where you don't include the citizenry or the various segments, and if people felt left out, they will go all out to make sure that they protect themselves against all these negativities. So in essence, like I said, religion is politics. If you don't play it very well and you allow things to go astray, people will feel that you are overprotecting your own religion against their own community of faith. And most often in Nigeria, we only look at, or most often we mostly look at the Christianity or Islam religion, forgetting that there are other communities of faith abandoned all around the nation.
Well, we will continue with those illustrations. I want to say that the issue of inclusivity in political atmosphere is something that we would need to thoroughly look into. And coming next week, we will further discuss on what citizens must understand, and even leaders, political leaders must understand that inclusiveness in political parties is very, very vital for sustainable democracy. That is one thing we should be sure of. Until next week, where we'll be discussing this issue further, I'd like to appreciate Ola Ademasham. Ola Ademasham is a public analyst, public commentator. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
So today,
It's a pleasure to be here.
a great planner. Welcome.
Thank you.
Once again, we are happy to be. We are happy to have you. And come next week, we'll be thoroughly.